Welcome to Alignment First, where we're on a mission to bring leaders back to their peace, presence, and power. And I've got the honor and the pleasure of rapping with Mollie Gray, Olympic level retired, quote unquote, rugby athlete, coach, wedding photographer, world traveler, finder of self via her most recent Vipassana retreat. And I really want to dive into what showed up as a result of all of that time inside your head. Thank you so much for jamming with us.
Thanks for having me. I feel like I need to get you to just like do all my intros like all the time. I feel really good. So good. But don't mind my husky voice though. After my Vipassana, I've just been talking nonstop and I get too excited and I've like done a number of myself. So
One of the things I left out in the intro is you served 11 years in the Australian Army, and with how many deployments?
just one.
Just one.
I say
So
just. I love that I'm like
yeah.
just. And it's like I feel like that's like kind of a cool thing, but I'm like just. What a dumb word.
Well, for all the vets that also served in Operation Enduring Freedom, like just one, like we get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. You're like,
I have just one. It's all good. Versus my big brother, our family's war child. He's got 5 or 6 pumps under his belt. So yeah,
insane.
yeah. So just one is fine. That's cool.
You know what? We're cool. We're in the club. It's
That's
fun.
right. That's right. But where I'm going with that is, did you, with all the chatter that you're experiencing post Vipassana, do you feel like it's similar to returning home from a deployment where you're just playing catch up on life? Is it a 10-day condensed but similar in intensity experience for you?
Um, it's like yes and no,
Mhm.
but so I have this habit in my life where I call them side quests, and I go off on a side quest every day. I think that's why my Instagram handle being Where's Mollie Gray suits me so much. So these side quests take me off for like 1 to 2 months, and no one knows where I am or what I'm doing. And by the time I get back, I'm always playing catch up, and I'm always like so excited to get back. So it being at the Vipassana was basically kind of like the same thing, and that was at the tail end of my latest like 7 week MIA mission that I've done anyways. But like I've totally been playing catch up. And this was the first time I reckon that I've ever been homesick as well. So there was this part of me while I was doing it that was just like, ooh, I love my life so much that I just want to get home to it. And I was like, what is that feeling? Usually I'm like running away and I'm just like, home feels pretty good right now.
For everybody who doesn't know what Vipassana is, give us a little rundown on what it is, how it works, why you would go.
I mean, you're stuck inside your head for 10 days straight. That's what it is. No, so it's a silent meditation retreat. So you go there, and there's like, say, I think we had like 60 people, and you cannot talk to them. You cannot look at them. You cannot communicate with them in any way. One of my favorite things about it was like going to go through a door at the same time as somebody, and you can't even just like usher them through. It's like you've got to pretend like they don't exist. And it's really easy to do. But then you're just kind of standing there like, like when NPCs are like walking into walls.
It's like
It's
Sim City for 10 days straight.
um, but yeah, so there's no talking, no communicating, and you are basically meditating for 10 to 12 hours a day. And they teach you, I want to say slowly, but it's not, because you like smash out that 10 to 12 on like day 2. But it's what's really beautiful about it is the way that it's broken down. And so the first 4 days is all about observing respiration and sensation in your body. And that's how we're essentially teaching our minds to focus, because we're so unfocused. I feel like we walk around thinking we're really focused, but like probably not when you think about it. But so you're observing your respiration, your sensation in this little spot here for 4 days while you're sitting really still, trying not to scratch and itch and move and all the things. And then on day 4, you're taught about the actual practice of Vipassana, which is the body scanning. So you start off real slow at the top of your head, and you're basically looking for sensation. And the whole premise behind meditation is it could be It could be like pleasure or it could be aversion, but regardless of what the feeling is in your body, be it good or bad, we're just observing. And by observing, what we're doing is they call it a sankara. And a sankara is like the cracks and the crevices and the misery that we hold in our bodies. And, for anyone who knows about, like inner child work and shadow work and all that sort of stuff, it's like that is held in our bodies our entire life. So you've got a sankara in your body that's just like, I'm not good enough. And that's like deep in there from like when you were a kid, but then it's layered up over and over and over again over your life, and to the point where you're like maybe a raving lunatic as an adult because you don't feel like you're good enough. And so through this meditation, you're bringing these sankaras to the top of your body, and then you just kind of like letting them go. And it's a really interesting, horrible, painful process that I didn't realize it would be so bad. And like every now and then I'd be sitting there and you're all in this great hall, excuse me, and I would open my eyes and everyone's just like zen as fuck. And I'm like, this scratchy little crackhead up the back sometimes, and I'm in so much pain, like my knees and my back and all the things, like all the rugby injuries are like coming up to the top. Or I was even having these moments as well where it's like those itches and those things that you're meant to just be observing. My hands, more often than not, would every now and then just start doing this. And I'm like, what is going on? Or my legs or my arms would just like contract. And I was trying so hard to sit and observe because that's what we're meant to be doing. And it got to like day 6 and, still no talking, still no communicating. You get 5 minutes every day with one of the teachers though, to try and like, dissect as fast as you can. And I went up there and they said day 6 would be the hardest. And I was like, nah, she'll be right. Day 6 rolls around and I'm like, oh my God. And I'm stuck in my head and my head played some like, oh my God. But like these body pains were just so intense. And I went up there and I sat down in front of this like beautiful old man. And he's just like zen as hell. And I get there and I'm just like, what is all this feeling? And he's like, oh, they're just sankaras. Don't worry about it. And as soon as he said that to me though, it's like you have this little like switch in your head that goes, oh, so this is okay. And then day 7, I just let my body do its like thing. And then it would just kind of like come back to itself really quickly. And I blissed out like the whole day 7. And it was crazy. It was so weird. And like when I meditated on day 7, like day 8, 9, 10 was just a whole thing in itself as well. But day 7, I was like, hell yeah. And it was just, I sat in that hall all day, went out like a couple of times, but like it was incredible. But one of the hardest things, and sorry, I'm going on this huge rant
let
here,
it
but
rip.
like,
Go ahead. That's what we're here for. Come on. I'm here for it.
One of the hardest things though is like you go silent and everyone's like, and obviously, like we met in Vegas a few weeks ago and like we were just chatting the whole time. And so anyone that knows me is just like, you're going to struggle. And I'm just like, I did not struggle once with the not talking. That was like so fine for me. But the hardest part was the thoughts in your head and like where it goes. And it either goes, you got like 3 options. You go into the past, you're going to the future, but the hardest part is to come to the present. So I'm mostly in the future. I like went back. I went back a few times. So I was like, oh yeah, that's cool. And then my mom was like, okay, let's go on a journey. And it was like some good stuff. Like you're kind of, like relationships and stuff like that. You could be going into like this cool place where you're like, oh, this is going to be like awesome. Or it turns on you and the story goes like downhill fast, but it like changes as well based on like where you're at with your meditation and your sankaras that are coming up and stuff like that. So what a ride. My head is busy, man.
Holy shit. So, oh man, where do I want to go with that?
Okay,
so
go,
much.
start.
The well, the sankaras, right? Describe to me what you mean by pain. Is it emotionally painful? Is it physically painful? Is it a combination of the two? Like what exactly are we talking about? Like, is it like injuries that you didn't that you forgot about that are like coming back, or what do you mean by painful?
It's it's the stuff. It's not the physical's always there. You sit down like that old back of yours, or those old knees, or like what your old knees.
Fuck you.
um, Mine too. Mine too. I've had like 4 knee recos. No, like that pain, the physical pain, that's there. Like
Hmm.
that's there
Okay,
for the whole 10 days. That ain't going anywhere.
got
The
it.
pain that I'm talking about is the pain from like your inside emotional pain that's
Hmm.
stored in your body, right?
Yep.
So, for example, when I was in Afghanistan, I had a really, really, really hard time over there. I was one of 28 and I was the
Mhm.
only woman. And I got groped by my boss and then I got severely bullied for 6 months. And I didn't think the bullying was a thing, right? I was just like,
Mhm.
man, just tell them to stop, move on, whatever. But when you're like 22 years old, you're in another country, you've got this one person just like causing havoc on your life. I came back an absolute psychopath. So my body is just like, just tuck that away, stuff it down as deep as you can, and
Mm.
then we'll carry it. So then for me, like that moment in my life when I got back and I had a little meltdown and I got out of the military for 6 months, I had that moment of like, when I was about to step into rugby, right? I was like, I'd always wanted to play rugby for Australia. Um, and this has got a point about Sankaras and body pain, I
Mhm.
swear. Another tangent. But I'd always wanted to play rugby for Australia. But the driving force behind it now was like
Mhm.
a fuck you to that guy. So it's like this body pain that's just so deep and like all throughout. I was like moving through the world now with this like lack and this point to prove, right? So I
Mhm.
moved through my whole career, which was like I did 2 World Cups and it was a pretty successful career, but I was never fully fulfilled and fully happy with it because I was like that the entire time. And I was like, you fucking watch me, I will be the best and whatever. So that's the pain. And then you go to this Vipassana thing, and that pain manifests in so many different ways as well. It's like you
Mhm.
could get to the top of multiple different things over your life and you could still be going, fuck you, watch me. And so that's the root, right? And then like that
Mhm.
root could be even deeper than that. Like when's the first time that you experienced that
Mhm.
horrible, similar type of pain? And so that's the type of pain that I'm talking about.
What's funny about that, and it's not funny at all, but what makes it such a false positive,
Mm,
right? Because you've obviously overcome that situation by leaps and bounds from the outside looking in. What makes it at the end of that rainbow as you achieve whatever's next and then surpass even that and doom to doom to doom to doom, success, 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 success.
mm,
That person you're saying fuck you to
mm,
isn't there at the finish line.
mm.
So what the fuck was it actually for?
Yeah.
And in the
Yeah,
work
you
and
carried them the entire time, and they probably left again and was like, "That chick was an idiot." And
yeah.
I'm here going, "Oh my God, I hate you
Mm-hmm.
so much." And like 10 years later, you're just like, "What? Why are they still here?"
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
And I'm curious as you're like moving through that like head to toe sensation surveillance, where were you holding on to it?
I
Like where
feel like I hold so much of it here.
in your chest?
And yeah, like my
Mm,
chest felt so tight all the time. However, if I was observing when my body was spasming, it was
mhm,
my hands and it was my leg and it was specifically my thigh. And I'm like, while it was happening, there were these parts of me that were like, does this mean something that it's so focused on this one area? Like
mhm,
I don't know enough about like the somatic side of that to know
I'll send
if
you.
that meant
I
something. Yeah.
actually,
You're like, I do.
I'm gonna send. Well, no, I'm gonna send you a podcast that I did with a
Yeah.
buddy of mine, Greg. He actually has a diagram of the emotions and or trauma responses that we hold on to and where we hold on to them. I got a whole map that
Mm.
I'll send you after this. Yeah,
Yes, that
yeah,
would be
yeah,
so
yeah.
interesting.
It's
Yeah.
fucking wild.
You know what though? Funnily enough, like when when you're going through this meditation and when all these
Mm-hmm.
Sankaras, you know how if you like, you sit down and you do like inner child work and stuff like that, and just say that it's the type where you're journaling and then you've got a guided meditation and they're trying to take you into all the different layers of your psyche and all that sort of stuff. And then you come out of it, you journal some more, and you're like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, the root of that problem was here from this point in my life of being a child. And you have like a really like you have a really intellectual understanding of what the
Mm-hmm.
root was. Whereas with the Pashna, it's you're bringing the, and this is what I noticed because there wasn't story attached to it. It was like you
Mm-hmm.
could feel all this stuff coming to the top, and you weren't just like, oh yeah, that was the time I didn't feel good enough, and that was the time that I didn't feel lovable, and that's all leaving my body. You just
Mm-hmm.
come out of it feeling different. It's more, it's so, and it actually like took the whole process was long and
Mm-hmm.
hard, but not having to intellectualize and fully understand all the time is just I just as powerful, I think, as
Yeah, no, 100%. I love that because you know, I get to Vegas and I knew you were my people because
yes.
I'm late to dinner and inside of 5 minutes we're talking about self-discovery and plant medicine. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, she belongs. Okay.
Yeah, and you whipped it. You're like, "Do you wanna see a photo of my knee replacement?" And you, like, pulled out this photo, and I was like, "Hell yeah."
Are you squeamish? Fuck no. Let me see that shit. Okay, here we go. And uh part of the guidance you're given in plant medicine facilitation is that which you resist persists.
Mm.
So you really, at least in my experience, and I've been really fortunate to have really amazing facilitators in this regard that have any at any point where I was like resisting, or I'm curious how this lands for you in Vipassana, like that thing that you thought you were there to resolve, you had attached a capital T trauma to it. And then what shows up is, oh, my dad ignored me at the dinner table. I don't want it to be that. It's got to be
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like an ass
Big.
whooping or a fight that I got into, or a
Yeah.
relationship that ended, or somebody significant died. I want it to be that. That
Yeah.
that would justify this deep sobbing pain that I feel. It's like, nope.
Yeah.
He walked out on
Da
your athletics ceremony in high school. Mm. And the scars that type of shit leaves. And like as you say it out loud, adult to adult, you're like, that sounds so dumb. But
Yeah.
to your point, the inner child stuff, your 8-year-old self is like, fuck no, dog. Like that's where the work is, you know?
Yeah.
And so in the plant medicine space, because it is so upon you, once you're on the ride, you don't get off until it's over,
Mm-mm.
right?
Mm-mm. And
So
you
it's like,
get stuck, and it's like you
you
need
can.
someone there
Oh,
to be like, "Hey," like, and you're not even there. It's like they're just the hands or whatever. I got stuck once, and I all I remember was like just being like this. And then my facilitator, I've been so blessed as well. And I've gone with her 3 times. She comes over and she's just like, put her hands on me. And she's like,
mm.
relax. And then, but then it takes you off on that journey. And you're like, I won't go there. But we're there.
Well, and the facilitator then is, hey, let it, allow
Yeah.
it, surrender to the medicine, take the lesson it's trying to give you, learn it, internalize it, and then move through it, right?
Yeah.
In Vipassana, because it's so deliberate, it's voluntary, and it's sober, right? Was there a loop that you got stuck in along the way, like something that you're, to your point about that busy monkey mind? Is there something that was like on repeat for a good while before like the surrender actually took place in day 6, day 7?
Mine was, my loop was relationship. Oh, man.
That's why I
It
asked you if
was,
there's anything off limits. Here we are.
like, no, it was. And it was, it was two relationships, right? It
Mm-hmm.
was my past one and it was my current one.
Mm-hmm.
And my past one was fucking traumatic. And I've spent the better part of the year. Actually, no, I have. I spent a whole year after that ended.
Mm-hmm.
I was like a wreck, right? An absolute wreck. And my heart was broken. I knew that I needed to leave. I knew that this person for me was just like not it, because who I was like just this puffy, sad. My whole body was like caving in with this guy. But the like the verbal abuse that I copped and delivered as well, that stuck with me for a really long time. So I've worked really hard throughout the year through plant medicine. I did so much, like plant medicine. I did theta healings with a psychic, which was like awesome in itself, and I'm so glad I did that too. I tried like somatic therapies. I did guided meditations. I did, you know what? One of the most beautiful things for me was going and joining a gym and finding a new beautiful community as well.
Yeah.
That brought me back to life.
Mm-hmm.
But the extra anger that I held there, that came up, and it was fucking violent. And I was so shocked that that's where my body was going and that's where my mind was going, and my fuck you was still like so heavy, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've worked really hard through my mother wound. Like every time I do plant medicine, she's like, hey, I'm back. Oh man, I'm just like, you again? You again? My
Mm.
first one ever, the entire time. I reckon it wasn't an ego death the first time, but it was pretty damn similar. And I
Mm-hmm.
was gone for the 4 hours, and I was like deeply feeling so much pain and sorrow, and just sobbed the entire time. And I came
Mm-hmm.
out of it and I was just like, that was all about my mum. My second one was like 18 months later, and I went back because I was having dramas in the relationship that I got out of a year ago, and I was losing myself, and I was just like, I need to go back. I was dreaming about it, and I was like, I need to go back, and I need to find myself again, thinking stupidly, so dumb, that it would give me the same freedom that it gave me last time. Because after the first plant medicine, I went on to have the most spectacular year of my life. I come back in for my second being like, I'm going on that journey again. And the plant was just like, bitch, no, you're not. It didn't. It actually made me live my mother's entire life with all of her pain and all of
Mm.
her sorrow, and raising 3 babies by herself and all that sort of stuff. And and then that one fucked me hard. It
Mhm.
left my crown open.
Yeah.
And for 3 months afterwards, there was just pain coming in and out, and there were all these like downloads of
Mhm.
pain. And then I had to go back one more time, and I just was like, surrender, surrender, surrender. And I
Mhm.
did like 8 grams, and I had the most incredible ego death experience. Yeah.
Shit, you
Do you
went
know what?
cosmic, and we're talking about psilocybin, right? In all three of
Mm.
these instances. Yeah.
Yeah, always.
Mhm.
choosing to do that didn't come from a place of ego either. It just
Mm-hmm.
came from a place of like pure knowing that that's the journey that I was meant to go on, because I was like,
Mm-hmm.
this chapter is meant to be done. And that one was I don't, there's no words to even describe what happened on that one, that
Mm-hmm.
like I let her go. So
Yeah.
thinking that she was going to show up in Vipassana, and she didn't. You know, she pissed me off a couple of weeks ago at my brother's wedding, and I was just
Mm-hmm.
like, see you later. Like, you know, I get back from America, and she's just like, I take off on my little side quest, and she's like, you're a red flag for like leaving the country and going off to like meet a man and whatever. And but I feel so unaffected by her now.
Mm-hmm.
So going into Vipassana, she doesn't show up at all. But what
Mm-hmm.
showed up was this ex and the remnants of pain and anger that I had towards him. And then my mind went into my current one, which was like, what is it? Where is it going? Whoop, dip, 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 and I'm
Mm-hmm.
pinballing the whole
Yeah.
time. And like, as like, it was so funny though, because as I got out of it and I spoke to him, he was just like, you're either going to break up with me or fall in love with me. And I was just like, yeah.
Fuck.
He's like, like and it was like, well, which one? And I'm just like, I don't know.
Inquiring minds want to know.
But that's where my head mostly was the whole time.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, 10 days of this, and mine wants to be like, are you going to fall in love? Like, that's where my mind was.
So let me ask you this, because you know, you're taking the lessons of one, and I guess we're talking about future casting, right? So you're projecting into the current, right?
Yeah.
Was there a moment of awareness where you're like, oh fuck, I'm taking that into this, and that needs to stay back here?
As in the previous relationship into the current?
Yeah.
No, actually, no.
Interesting. Yeah.
I feel, and thank God I had the year that I did, because I have worked so hard on developing my emotional intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
And because I feel like maybe I was like a little reactive Neanderthal my entire life. Just like a dumb thug moving their way through relationships, and super reactive and all that sort of stuff. And because I like allowed myself to feel through that entire breakup, and my goal with that one was, no matter how much pain that I was in, I always wanted to keep an open heart. I didn't want to come through that being like, fuck men, fuck relationships, blah, blah, blah. So it's like, when I've come into this next one, I didn't bring any of the anger, or like, I didn't turn up with my bags, you know?
Right.
I actually left them behind. There are definitely still like things that pop up for me, but
Sure.
but I work through them so much quicker now that I don't have to ever move the two into, like, they're not doing that. For the first time in my life, they're not.
This is cool.
overlapping.
This is cool. So I'm so curious about the mechanism for the real-time work that you're doing, right? Because I know in my relationship with Nicole, we've decided, we've agreed between the two of us that we're playing the same game, right? And we're on the same mission towards the same end together.
Yeah.
And in that work, for me, when I'm doing that work in real time, it's knowing that it's the container of our relationship is safe and sacred, so that the work can be done in real time without the worry or the preoccupation of being judged for it. So when we're in those moments together, the exercise or the expression of that work is just announcing that the work is being done. Like, say that shit out loud. Like, hey, this is where I'm at. This is what I'm moving through. I'm upgrading and updating in real time right here, right now. And all of a sudden that space is created for like the words to come out clunky or for it to get ugly for a second, knowing that on the other side, that upgrade is waiting for you.
Yeah.
Right. So what does it look like for Mollie when she's doing that work in real time, when like you're activated based on something that doesn't have to do with the current situation specifically. It's some shit way back when that's showing up in the here and now.
You know, it's so interesting because, you know, I'm pretty new into this new one, and this has been such an adventure for me. I don't know how he feels. He's probably just chilling, being like, just being a bit crazy, like what? And I'm just like, like I'm like feeling all the feelings, and he's just like, I don't care, man. One thing that like happens for me in real time is like is the triggers that come up, and they are overwhelming. And this is the thing, and I was watching a video last night about it, and it's just like, you know, we go into our solitude post breakup, and we're like, I'm healed. I am healed in my home, away from the world, where I'm not being tested and whatever. And it's like the biggest test is going into relationship, and all of a sudden it's like you're getting triggered left, right, and center, right? So for me, it's like those real-time downloads are observing in my own body what's happening when I get triggered by something. And then instead of being like, bam, fuck you, it's just like, sit with this for a little bit and see what's happening. One of the most challenging things for me, and I've really only been able to start doing this post Vipassana, is communicating that. Beforehand, I was like suffering in silence, and, you know, I would go quiet and I would get uncomfortable and I just wouldn't say anything, and I would get so in my head about it, and because I wasn't saying anything, it's like, well, how's this guy meant to know that I'm like suffering? And so what I've been doing now is I'm finding there's this freedom in my throat to be able to like communicate my needs. And I try really hard to not, like, you know, let's just say someone does something that pisses you off and you're like, that pisses me off. And that's because this happened back here, you know, this time. But it's like, I don't want to bring that into this, because then that kind of like takes away from that person to be like, oh, well, you're just acting like that because of old mate from before. And it's like, no, I'm reacting right now. My pain is my own and how I feel it deeply. But like right now it's you. But and I don't know if my answer is making much sense, but
no, totally.
But it's just yeah, I'm just in real time. I have so much more like clarity throughout my entire body, where I'm like, ooh, I know what this is, but I need to keep like checking with myself to be like, you have to communicate.
Yeah.
You know,
well,
if I don't, I feel like I'll die.
Was there a big leap for you in ego or identity coming to this place where you check in with yourself first? When that activation, or I don't like to use the word trigger anymore because of the energy around it. Most people receive that word negatively. So the word I've replaced it with is activate. When you feel activated, this peak emotion, was there a lot of work involved, plant medicine or otherwise, in which you, instead of externalizing first, you check the temperature inward with like the question I always ask myself when I'm activated is this my shit, or is this actually happening?
Yeah, that's something that I've been doing so often, like and I never used to. Like if I got activated, I'd be like, I wouldn't even think. I'd just be like, no, fire the missiles, and like and that is not a good quality to have in a human. But I grew up with a mother like that, and I grew up with a mother who, you know, it's her fault, obviously it's not my fault. Really? No, but I grew up with a mother who was really, really reactive to me, to her partners, to my siblings, everyone. And then so I moved through life and I would be reactive, and I would try really, really hard not to be, and it would be like, You know,
Mm-hmm.
you'd be in there like trying not to,
Just fucking
and it was,
vibrating.
man, it was it's like this little time bomb. You know those little toys that like jump across the table? You wind them up. That's me. Um, but yeah, now the I've been on this journey for like, you know, I did therapy from early 20s, right? I
Mm-hmm.
hated it. How you feeling? You know, and you'd go there and you're just like, oh, he did this, he did that. And it's like that, whatever, who cares? Like the dishes in the sink. No one gives a fuck about the dishes in the sink.
Mm-hmm.
But unless you're Eric, he really cares about the dishes in the sink. Learn that one. um yeah. But when I started getting into probably about like, I think it was like 2021, that's when I started getting into plant medicine. And that's when I started really exploring this whole world. And that
Mm-hmm.
started to allow me to check in with myself. But specifically now, I am constantly doing it. Constantly, like, what am I feeling? Am I feeling like excitement or jealous or envy or anger or hatred, or what is it? And is
Mm-hmm.
it me or is it you? But also, if you did something and I reacted to it, that's still me though. Like, not
Mm-hmm.
everyone is out to get me and not everyone is out to fuck with me. And it's like, if you say something to me, it's like, it might not be your intention or whatever, but how I react or how I feel, that's my responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm learning now is that it's like, regardless of whether it's you or me, I constantly have to check in with me. Because,
Yep.
you know, like, if I was constantly walking around doing this, you know, you got one finger pointed forward and three pointing back, right? Like it's me. It's
Yeah.
me, and I'm in charge of my own peace, and I'm in
Mm-hmm.
charge of you know how. Yeah, right there.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah, but and I want peace. That's all I
Mm,
want. I just want to live like really like obviously like, you know, I bounce off the walls and I have fun and all that sort of stuff, but at the end of the day when I come home it's like I want
mm,
peace and I want harmony. And the
yeah.
reason that I do all of this work, and I realized this, and this is something that I realized while I was on Vipassana as well, is that I do this for me, absolutely. Um, but I do this for my, like, to be a better partner in relationship, and then to
Mhm.
one day, you know, if I'm a wife, to be a better wife, and then if I one day get to be a mother, to be a better mother as well. They're
Mhm.
the things that I want. I want to be a great partner, great wife, and great mother, and a
Yeah.
great person. So again, my peace is my responsibility. So,
Mhm. So
you know,
that's a beautiful segue into this next question, because the coaching call that I facilitated this afternoon prior to this episode, this conversation, there's a prior intelligence operative named Chase Hughes. He's big in the podcast space right now. He's got this really crazy book. I'll put it in the show notes. But like just a wizard of people between the ears in terms of behavior and shit like that. And he talked about uh, there we operate in the world in three versions of ourselves: the version of us in private, the version of us in friendship, and the version of us in the workplace. And it dawned on me, because a lot of people, like you included, like, what is it, what the fuck do you actually do, like what is this thing?
yeah,
And the in answering, in like identifying that circumstance, like, oh fuck yeah, that, like, in teaching and coaching aligned leadership, it's helping our clients show up in the world not in three versions, but as
mm,
one version,
yeah,
right? So you don't have to code switch or change the version of you that certain people experience only to jump into a different costume and wear a different mask for this other room that you operate in. And you know, your move, that's so much fucking energy
yeah,
to do that all day, every day. Who I am as a dad, who I am as a husband, who I am as a guide and facilitator, who I am as a friend. Like, how much better does it feel to exist in the world as one person, not three, not four, not five, depending on the context of the environment that you're in. God, that sucks so much. And the fact that
Yeah.
we've led ourselves through story and our lived experience to believe that that is required creates such a fractured experience.
Yeah.
Right. So as you're moving into this new season of your life post Vipassana, what does it look like for Mollie to move in the world as one person?
It's a good question. And it's funny, like I remember hearing a podcast like years and years and years ago where they spoke about the different hats that we put on. And they kind of, I think back then they would play it out like, you've got to have your work hat and your, dad hat and your, all these different hats. And then so I have spent my life being all these different versions of myself. And like you said, it's like, it's so exhausting, this season of life, it's like now that I have such a beautiful life. I have cultivated a life that I'm so proud of, and I have the most incredible community around me constantly, and I choose to show up every day, the exact same in every facet of that life. And it's loud, it's very loud, very jokey. But yeah, and even in relationship as well, it's like I don't want to shrink in that. So it's like, so previously, right? Like I was army, I was rugby, I did a stint as a TV presenter, crumbled in that one because I tried to put on someone else's hat. I okay, side quest story for a second, right? So I've just finished my rugby career and I was chasing media. I really liked it, but I think I was like egotistically chasing it because I was like, don't forget about me. And so I did this interview after my World Cup. No, before I just come back from this like horrific knee injury, and I had a full ACL reconstruction, and then I played in a World Cup 5 months later.
So
Stupid.
fun. You're a
At
baller.
the time, I was
Holy
like,
shit.
no, it's so dumb. There's this interview. Oh, got shame. And I'm just like, oh my God, like just all these things are happening and it's just crazy. And I'm just like, no, it's not, bitch. You are so fucking injured. And I was like, yeah, I'm walking because I walked out of hospital and I was like holding onto the walls and I was like, whatever. And it was, I can't even, like, who was that idiot? Whatever. Anyways, so I'm at doing this interview, right? And there's this big semicircle couch and it's real deep. And there was me and another teammate. And I was just like, babe, whatever you do, don't sit straight back. I'm like, chins. I'm like, you got to lean, throw an arm up, cross your legs, do whatever. So she's sitting like this the whole time. And I'm like a lounge lizard. And from that, I was able to have just like a really chilled out conversation like this. So then post World Cup, fucked my knee, obviously. 4 weeks of football. Like I had to medically retire after that. And I was like, why? Stupid. Anyways, got a phone call and they said, we've got this show on Fox Sports that we want to do. It's a panel show and we want to have you on. We want to have a female player on, blah, blah, blah. And we loved what you did on the couch. And I was like, sick, great. And I turn up and I was like, fresh off a World Cup. So I'm like boulders of shoulders and just like thick and like athletic as hell. And I go in for this photo shoot with the whole team. And it's all the men were all the ex-footy players and, they're like kind of young, kind of old. They're just like, they don't care. They're just like rocking their like pot bellies in their jackets and they're just adorable. And then the women, though, are all these cute, teeny, tiny little news reporters who are like this big on me. And I'm walking in like dus. And I got so insecure And so,
Ooh.
and I didn't know how to stand, and I didn't know how to be. And all of a sudden, it's like that wild, fun, free chick that I know that I am
Mhm.
disappeared almost like instantaneously. And then I was
Yeah.
like, crossed my legs, and then, oh, yep, held my hands like this. And I just
Oh, fuck.
turned.
Yeah.
So I grabbed her hat, put that on my head,
Yeah.
and then I was showing up for these shows, and I was doing a couple a week, and I fucking bombed it because I was
Yikes.
so self-conscious that I couldn't even
Mhm.
just sit, write a couple of dot points about rugby and just
Mm.
talk. And like talk with my
Wow.
hands and be animated and
Mhm.
whatever, that I like there were all these comments
Yeah.
from this one show where they're just like, "Who's this bitch? She doesn't even say anything." And I was, but in my mind and in
Never
my
read the
body,
comments, Molly.
ah,
Never read the
no.
comments. Post and ghost. Be done with that
I
shit.
know, I
Whoa.
know, I know. And so like,
Damn.
I put somebody else's hat on, right? And then so I
Mhm.
got the flick from that show pretty quickly, because they're just like,
Yeah.
this chick sucks. And then, then you're angry. You carry that anger with you,
Mhm.
put that in the bag, and
Right.
off you
We're
toddle
gonna
and
deal with
whatever.
that in
But
Vipassana. We'll
yeah, yeah,
save
yeah,
that
yeah,
for
yeah. I'm
later.
gonna deal with that. Never. 10 years later, thank you. What the fuck? Like, oh, it just blows my mind. Throw that
It's
in
so
there.
it's
But
so human. It's so human.
oh, it truly is.
Mhm.
But so, and that's the thing, right? And so me in the gym, it used to be this just this really like, that hat I wore well, right? I was just
Mhm.
like, again, like just buff as hell, fuck you to the world, would put a hat on, go in and just train my ass off. And I was so unapproachable. And then
Mhm.
every facet of my life was so different that I was just tired. But
Yeah.
this version of my life, like I have learned to step into like femininity. What a journey that is. Oh, like as a chick, it's like, oh yeah, we're all feminine. And I'm just like, no, we're not. So
I don't need no man. I can do bad by myself.
oh my
Yeah.
God. What, like truly, like recently, like I'd be walking like out of the airport, and Eric was just like, give me your bag. And I was like, I don't need you to take my bag. And he just looked at me.
Fuck, Molly, really? Let a
I know.
motherfucker be a gentleman.
I know. And
Jeez.
then he's just like, would look at me. You know what he's like? He looks at me just like calmly. He's like, give me your bag. And I was just like, okay. Like
Oh,
how,
you went up, he went down. Hey,
yeah.
that's a Jedi mind trick right there. That's it, right? That's that.
Oh, man. You know, but I'm learning. I just learning.
Oh shit, that's so
Wild.
great. That's so great.
Yeah. But that's the thing though. It's like that hat of like
Hmm.
femininity for me
Yeah.
through like work and footy and relationship as well.
Hmm.
That version of me, the life got sucked out of that. Man, I was with
Mm.
dudes that were just like, my last guy that I was engaged to once was just like, I don't think you're sexy. And I was like, what? What? Why would you say, like, what? Why would you say that? And he's like, why do you have to wear that? Or why do you have to blah, blah, blah? And so it's like, I've worked really hard to like reclaim that part of myself, and not
Yeah.
even that version. It's like that
Hmm.
part of myself.
Yeah.
And then that like loud, humorous side, like I know when to like dial it down. I try. I don't, but I try. But maybe if I went into like, you know what, Vipassana, I was good. I didn't talk. But
Mm.
that side of me, I know how, like, and this isn't coming from a place of like ego, but like
Hmm.
that side of me, I feel is like so powerful and like so magnetic, that I know that if I'm just me and loud and happy and excitable, I go into
Hmm.
like my gym space and all the girls are like, oh my God, we're so glad to have you, but you're so fun. You make us feel XYZ. And I'm just like, ooh, okay. So put that back into rebuilding
Hmm.
this like version of myself. And so, yeah, I'm definitely trying really, really hard to just like bring in all of that stuff. But also, it's like if you've got that like wild emotional hat of yourself, like as women, right?
Hmm.
I used to think that that like that version, that hat had to be fucking squashed. That hat had to be thrown in the bin, because it's like, don't
Mhm.
feel, don't overreact, blah, blah, blah.
Oh,
But
man.
like now,
Yeah.
again, in this version of life, I'm
Mhm.
just like, I'm just allowing, I'm giving myself permission to feel. And I think Eric said to me the other day, he'd like lock me in the garage so I can just go nuts.
Scream it out. Mhm.
I was like,
Yeah.
thanks, man. Thanks. But like, but how good also to like
Mhm.
have a man who's just like, well, no, that's just a part of you. And like that's
Yeah.
gonna happen. And like,
Mhm.
don't be too nuts, but like, you've
Yeah.
got freedom of expression to like feel your way through shit
Yeah.
as well. So
It's crazy how we have to unlearn so much of that programming only to return to this place where, again, showing up fully expressed. And I'll tell you, as a dad, just happened this morning. My son, who is a bit of a perfectionist, you know what I mean? Like, he doesn't like to
yeah.
suck. Go figure, And he's in the living room, just like he wakes up wired for sound, you know.
Yeah.
Like, you met all of his uncles. Like, that's
Yeah.
that shit that shit's epigenetic. Okay. So
Yeah.
there's that roots run deep. And
Yeah.
I come out of the office and I'm like, dude, what's up, man? He's like, just quiet. He's like, Dad, I'm
Ooh.
nervous. I'm like, why, man? He's like, I got a test today. I was like, okay. So what? He's like, well, I want to do good. I'm like, okay, it's not here yet. Like, what's up? He was just feeling some kind of way, and he was able to express to me all the feelings that were going on inside of him. And together we were able to not hang on to them and just allow them to move through him and like step into a more peaceful presence for himself. You know what I mean? And there, somewhere along the way, and like I don't think this is something that the world impresses upon us, because for all the plant medicine I've done and all the facilitation I've been through, like, I can't pinpoint a moment where that was programmed in my house. You know what I mean? It's something that we pick up in the world, that
Yeah.
suppression of emotion. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And so, like, again, going back to in relationship, making that agreement to play the same game. It's
Mm.
like, hey, dude, I don't give a fuck what happens out there, but
Mm.
here, like, it's not worth hanging on to. You got to let that. You got to let
Mm.
it. It's not okay to not feel it,
Yeah.
but it's also not okay to hold on to it either any longer than you have to.
Yeah.
So let's do what needs to be done to allow it to move through you
Yeah.
and move on to the next. And I think there's a misconception about that practice, that you're trying to dismiss your emotions. That's how
Mm.
that exercise can be perceived, as opposed to, no, I'm through conscious competence choosing, allowing these things, whatever it is, to move through me, process the emotional through the physical,
Yeah.
so that it's no longer in my way.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
as I say that, what's showing up for you?
It's just, yeah, I'm thinking about like, there was something that came up weeks ago,
Mm-hmm.
and it stuck with me and it hurt me like deeply. And
Mm-hmm.
I didn't initially communicate it the way that I needed to. And I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't. I was trying and I just couldn't get the words out. And then I was just like, I'm just gonna fucking implode in. And then but because I didn't like allow myself to feel it properly and then communicate it properly, it showed up again like, a week or two later. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just like, why are you not over this yet? And I was just like, I don't know. I'm not sure, but I'm just gonna like sprinkle like a smidgy of what it was again without fully communicating like everything that I was feeling. And
Mhm.
then it showed up in Vipassana for 10 whole days.
Ugh.
Ugh, yuck. And so I suffered for
Yeah.
10 days. And then it
Mm.
came up again the other day in conversation, and I was just like, "Listen," and he was just like, "What the fuck? Are you gonna keep bringing this up?" And I was just like, "I
Mhm.
gotta get this out of my body."
That's
And I
right.
did. And by being able to, like, give myself the space, and it's
Mhm.
not necessarily, them that aren't giving me the space, it's
Mhm.
me,
Right.
because
Mhm.
mine was suppressed. Mine
Yeah.
was just like, "You're too much." I had a conversation with my mum recently. God bless that woman. I love her so much, but damn, hard work. Um, but I ring her up out of the blue and oh no, actually no, she calls me. She's like, "How are you?" And I had a lot going on at the time. And I kind of
Mhm.
always do. And I was just like, okay, so I was like, I'm selling one of my investment properties. I'm quitting my job and I'm buying a gym. Or I don't know if I'm going to buy the gym. I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure that one out. But I'm like, something is happening. And I was trying to just say to her, and I walk around my gym like with like all my best friends are in that place. And I
Mhm.
was just like, magic is happening. I was like, something is like going on in the world right now. And like big things are shifting for like a lot of us. And
Mhm.
so, and I try and talk to my mum like that. And I was just like, bam, bam, bam. I did these three things. And she's like, oh, okay. Um, yeah, sweet. All right. I gotta go. All right, darling, bye. And I was just like, what the fuck? I was like, okay, cool. I was like, you know what, crack on, whatever. And I was like cruising around on my bike and just like in the sunshine. And I was like, I don't care, whatever. She
Mm.
calls me up the next day and she's like, listen, I just got to talk to you about that conversation. And I was just like, what's up? And she's just like, you're too much. And I was like, ooh, ooh, what? What?
Mhm.
And an unhealed, not that I'm like fully healed, no one
Yeah.
ever is, but an unhealed version of myself would
Mhm.
send that all the way back to being a kid and having someone say, you're too much.
Mhm.
Don't be so shiny. Don't strive for this. Don't strive for that. Just condense,
Mhm.
and then I've had that my whole life with her. But then when I'm doing the thing, like playing rugby, for example, it's like you train too much, you live in the gym, you have no life, but all the things. Like you're
Mhm.
so muscly, like, what the hell. But then when I'm off playing a World Cup, it's like, oh, I'm so proud of my daughter kind of thing. And I'm just like, you can't have one without the other dude. I'm like, you
Right.
gotta love my journey and it's mine, it's not yours. So then
Mhm.
when she says this to me the other day, I was just like, dude, literally, like you being triggered by how I live my life and the successes or the failures that I
Mhm.
have is not a reflection of me. That's a
Yeah.
reflection of you.
Yep.
And she kind of like argued me on it. And I'm like, listen, I'm nearly 40 years old. I
Mhm.
do not need your permission to shine. And I do not need your permission. I have worked too hard to be like to embody this version of myself, to be
Mhm.
like, like I never thought in a million years that I would own multiple properties by myself and have a work like my finger in a couple of different pies with work that I
Mhm.
get to literally live my dream life. Like
Mhm.
I cruise to the gym and I work there because I can, because I want to. That's not my full-time job. And I like hang out with my dog all the time. And I love my life so deeply that
Mhm.
when somebody turns around and they go, "You're too much," I'm just like, "Cool, bye." Like,
Yeah.
and I forgot what the whole point of where this was going, but like, but being told that you're too much by
Yeah.
somebody, so weird. So
Can
like,
the
I will never ever suppress my emotions or my life or my bigness or my greatness or whatever it
Yeah.
is again to like appease another person because they're just like, I can't handle it. And I'm like, go and I know a plant medicine lady, off you go.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's crazy how it always comes from the most unlikely of sources. like to have that realization and have that friction come from a source that is so close and near and dear and supposed to love and accept with unconditionally, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. And I'm curious, in partnership, to be involved with a person that is beyond secure in who the fuck he is, for better or for worse.
Mm-hmm.
And for him to say out loud, be you.
Mm.
What is that like? Because that I know for sure is rare.
He doesn't know this. He said something to me the other day that was, I'm sort of making some moves at the moment with career that are really, really exciting. And I'm just like, they're going to take a little while, but they're going to be great. And he said this to me like so often about just like, like go do you, go and but basically like just be great, go do whatever it is that you got to do. And he said something to me like about this new adventure that I'm going on. And it was, I got off the phone and I got like, I got so like emotional about it because I was just like, fuck, like to have a person allow you the space to just do what it is that you want to do without making you small or all that sort of stuff. Like I truly rare because in my dating history was always, you can't date a baddie and get mad when she's being a baddie. You know what I mean? Like
Fuck,
my, and this this isn't a shit on my ex podcast, but I got a list. No, not at all. He's a good person. But I remember in the beginning with him, it was like he went through like my Instagram and he saw like my whole rugby career and stuff like that. And he was just like, wow, I'm so like proud of you. And I was like, thanks, man. And then we would go to the gym, right? And I'm like, I'm a big bitch in the gym and I'm like strong as shit. And I know that. And I'm so comfy in that. I say to people in my gym all the time, I'm just like, do not compare yourself to me because I got like 15 years of like elite experience here. And I'm just throwing shit around because I want to, because I love it. But he was like, hey, why do you have to go and pick up the 30s as opposed to the 20s? Because he's sitting over there on a 20. And I'm like, okay. And then it was like, I wanted to go and learn meditation like 18 months ago. And he was just like, whatever reason that he was trying to push me out of it. And then it came out that he was just like, I was just really scared that you would end up here and I'd be down here. And I was like, that's not my responsibility. And then even just with so much of the stuff that I had going on and the dreams and the aspirations, they ended up being like merged together, but he couldn't keep up with it. So he would pull me down to where he was. So I had to live, my body collapsed with this man. And all of a sudden, it's like, ending up with somebody who's, like you said, so secure in themselves. Like that man is like unshakable. And his confidence is just like this, like, it's insane watching him because obviously like he's humble as hell but confident as fuck in like his abilities,
right.
and I feel like I'm, I don't possess that magic. I do it to a degree, but like, when he allows me to just like keep striving for the stuff that I want to strive for, I can take a breath. And I was listening to something today and it was about like, men creating safe spaces for women to just soften and breathe and whatever. And it was like that moment that I sort of, came to him to tell him about this cool idea. I don't need his permission to have this cool idea, right? But when he just was so open to it, that gave me like, I could actually like breathe. I found myself being like, I don't know if I want to tell him. I don't know if I want to tell him, because does that
Mm-hmm.
mean, all the different things or whatever. But I was
That's
just
that
like,
shit. Yeah.
oh, yeah. And then I cried when I got off the phone.
No, that's
But like,
awesome.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's always interesting when we meet each other,
Mm.
and it's like, I don't know, dog, or oh yeah, that's what's up, and it's never in between.
Yeah,
It's never lukewarm,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know, and so whatever it is you're working on, I'm sure it's some of the stuff that we were talking about in Vegas coming to
Mm.
fruition. Yeah, fucking rock that shit. That's fucking awesome. Good for
Yeah,
you.
that's it.
Yeah.
And one of my things is like with doing all of this sort of stuff as well, and obviously
Mhm.
being with someone who lives on the other side of the world, that's got its,
Mhm.
there's you get to a point with that, and where it's like, well, someone's got to make a move, right? And I
Mhm.
found myself getting really like anxious about that.
Mhm.
And like one of the things that allowed me to be able to relax into telling him this sort of stuff
Mhm.
was because I was just like, oh my God. And again, something I learned from Vipassana, it's like, I don't need to live in the future
Nope.
with like, well, what decision do I have to make? And do I have to go there? Like, when do I give up all of
Mhm.
this? Do I give up all of my dreams? And like
Yeah.
my anxiety was like, like having a
Yeah.
fucking rock show in there.
Mhm.
And I just had this moment by myself the other day before I made this, like little pivot into this new business move, where I was
Mhm.
just like, be present, be in your life right now. I
Yeah.
love my life. I need to
Mhm.
be here. I can be there, that's fine.
Mhm.
But like right now, I'm here. And if
Mhm.
I'm not living my life to my fullest potential here, then how am I ever going to live? Like, you're like, oh, when I do that, I'll be happy
Mhm.
kind of thing. Or when I
Oh yeah.
do that, I'll be better. And I'm like, I just want to be better right now.
That's right.
And yeah, and that was like the biggest thing for me. And then obviously being able to like chill out now and just presence, man. Who would have thought? Da, da, da.
Mollie, you're fucking awesome. I'm really happy to be in your circle. Where can the audience find you, support you, hitch their wagon to you and all your adventure?
I mean, all my adventures, like just my normal Instagram is all about that. So that's just like, where's Mollie Gray? If anyone's ever interested in my wedding photography, that one is just Mollie Gray Photography. I've got an Instagram, I've got a website, all that sort of stuff. But all the normal stuff, all the gym stuff, all of this sort of stuff, that's all just over on my normal page.
Hell yeah. Awesome. For everybody out there
Awesome.
listening, give Mollie a follow and you know, see what it looks like to live a life well lived. And if you're on a mission to be the fittest leader possible, remember it starts with integrity, courage, and ownership. And it's all laid across the foundation of alignment first. Until next time, see you soon.